Imagine a country where people's entire life depended on one single crop, potatoes. Ireland, 1845. Poor families. Small patches of land, but one thing kept them alive, the humble potato. Every home, every village lived by the same prayer: will the harvest survive? But then, one day, dark spots appeared on the leaves. A strange smell came from the soil. Potato blight, a fungal disease, began killing the crops. First one village, then another. Then across the entire land. The potatoes rotted black in the ground. Between 1845 and 1852, over 1 million people starved to death. Mothers watched their children waste away. Not from war or violence, but simply because they had nothing to eat. Fathers buried their sons in cold graves. Families who had survived for generations on their tiny farms now had no food. No money, no hope. But the tragedy didn't stop there. The landowners, most of them British, still demanded rent. Crops had failed, but the taxes didn't stop. When poor farmers couldn't pay, they were evicted, forced out of their homes. Suddenly, entire villages were wandering the roads. Homeless, jobless, begging for scraps. What could they do? Stay and die slowly? Or leave everything behind? And so, they left. Ships packed with desperate people crossed the Atlantic to America, Canada, Australia. The journeys were brutal: sickness, hunger, and death followed them even on the boats. But those who survived began life again as poor workers in foreign lands. Cleaning houses, building roads. Taking any job they could find. Even today, when you see Irish communities in America or Canada, remember, they didn't leave home out of choice. They were forced to abandon their country by hunger and poverty. The trauma of the Great Famine lives on in their songs, their stories, their hearts. One failed harvest changed the course of history. 1 million dead. 2 million forced to migrate. And those who remained carried scars that lasted for generations. Think of the heartbreak: mothers unable to feed their children, families shattered. A proud nation brought to its knees by a tiny, invisible fungus. But they survived. Not because they were strong, but because they had no other choice. They built new lives, brick by brick, tear by tear, in lands far from home. This is not just Ireland's story. This is the universal story of every human who has been crushed by hardship, who has lost everything but still found the strength to keep going.